Hi, very good evening. My name is Vidinesh Babu, and today in this session, we are going to cover the concepts of object-oriented programming system. Previously, we have started this concept, and we have completed the definitions of class, object, and how to define a class in Java, and what is the need of creating an object in Java, how classes can be, how objects can be created in Java. At the same time, we have seen what is inheritance, different types of inheritances. Among all the 5 types of inheritances, we have completed the theory part for single inheritance. At the same time, we have seen one example also on single inheritance. Coming to the second type of inheritance, that is multi-level inheritance, we have completed the theory part in the previous session, and we don't see any program. So now let us start today's session with a program on multi-level inheritance. The people who don't know the theory on multi-level inheritance, please refer to the last video, which is kept in the YouTube, so you can get some enough knowledge regarding multi-level inheritance. So after getting some enough knowledge on multi-level inheritance, please come back to this video and watch this video, so that you will be very comfortable. You will understand what is multi-level inheritance. At the same time, you will understand what is inheritance, and then what is multi-level inheritance. And in this session, I will cover the program on multi-level inheritance. Right. So let us review the picture of multi-level inheritance. So there are n number of classes, where the first class will act as parent class for the next class, grandparent class for the next class, right? Similarly, the second class, that means in this picture, second class in the sense class B, will act as a child class for class A and parent class for class C. And similarly, class C will act as a child class for class B, and if there is any class D, then C will act as parent class for class D, and so on. So this multi-level inheritance is very much similar to our family structure. We have grandfather, and then we have father and ourselves, right? So grandfather is the super class, father is the super class for the child, subclass for grandfather, child is the subclass for father, right? Similarly, if the child have children, means then child will become a super class for the next generations. So this is multi-level inheritance. So let us move to the program. And this is the program what we have seen in the previous session, right? So the people who don't understand the program related to simple inheritance or single level inheritance, please refer to the last session's video, right? So you will only understand this multi-level inheritance when you have a good idea on that single inheritance. So please watch the previous video if you have any doubts regarding the program on single inheritance. So now, as I said earlier, I'm writing this code for 3 classes, right? I'm writing this code for 3 classes. So there is one class called as A, right? And there is another class called as B, and there is one more class called as C. So in these 3 classes, A is the superclass for B. That means B is going to inherit class A. So here in Java, we have to use the keyword called as extends followed by class name. So class B extends A, and similarly for class C, it has to be superclass, sorry, it has to be subclass for B. So here we have to mention class B, right? So the code on the screen, what you are seeing will reflect will reflect the picture, what is there on PPT. So there are 3 classes. Class A will be the superclass for all the classes. Class B will be superclass for class C. At the same time, subclass for class A. And C is the subclass for class B, right? So this is what we have implemented here. We have created 3 classes, A, B, C, where B is the subclass of A and C is the subclass of B, right? So let us see how it will work, right? So in this one, in this class, there is one method called as, right? There is one method. The method name is m. So void m, and inside method, I want to print our college name, so that in Java, in order to print anything, right? In order to print anything, we will use system.out.println. So by using system.out.println, we are going to print something in Java programming language. Okay. So here I want to print college name. So I'm going to use system.out.println so that it will print our college name, right? Out.println. So here I want to print college name. So give college name in double quotates, right? And then let us copy this method. I don't want to waste your time, right? Let us copy this method, and then I'm going to write one more method whose name is m1, right? And it is going to print, right? It is going to print your branch name, electronics and communication engineering, right? So I'm going to write one more method in class C, and the name of the method is m2, right? Name of the method is m2, and here I am going to print our subject name, that is oops through Java, right? So there are 3 methods, m1 and m2, right? Where m and m2, m is a method in class A, m1 is a method in class B, and m2 is a method in class C. Now Now I am going to write one more class. Our class name is D, where we are going to write some main method in class D. So the main method in Java is public static void main, right? Void main string args. Public static void main string args. So inside the method, what I'm going to do is, so I have to bring, if I want to bring something into the RAM, then I need to create an object. So if you observe class A, class B, or class C, nothing in those three classes have static keyboard. So they will not move into the RAM directly. So in order to bring all of them into the RAM, we need to create an object. So for example, if we create an object for class A, right? If we create an object for class A, it will bring only create an object for class B. It will bring M1 method, right? It will bring M1 method. At the same time, if you observe class B extends A, that means M method lies in class A. So it will bring M1 method into the RAM. At the same time, it will also bring M method into the RAM. So both M and M1 will be in the RAM when we create an object for class B. At the same time, if you create an object for class C, it will bring M2 method into the RAM. At the same time, if you observe the class definition here, class C extends B. That means the control will comes to class B and it will bring M1 into the RAM. At the same time, control observes that B is a subclass of class A. Then the control will move to class A and it will bring M. So keep the 3 points in your mind. If you create an object for class A, only method M will move into the RAM. If we create an object for class B, then method M1, method M will move into the RAM. So two methods will move into the RAM when we create an object for class B. At the same time, if you create an object for class C, then it will bring method M2 into the RAM, method M1 into the RAM, method M into the RAM. So if we create an object for class C, we can be able to access M1 and M2. If we create an object for class B, we can only have access to method M and method M1. If we create an object for class A, we will have only method M. So it is our opinion, so whether to create an object for class A or to create an object for class B or to create an object for class C. So if we want to use all the three methods, we have to create an object for class C. So the syntax of creating an object is class name. So we want to create an object for C. That's why the class name is C space. My object name is obj. So let us, object name can be any name other than keywords, no problem. So, or else you can have your branch name as an object name, right? C space EC equal to, use the new keyword. So new keyword is mandate in order to create an object in Java. New class name. Our class name is C, right? So this is the way to create an object in Java. Class name plus object name equal to new class name. So here, so if we are creating an object for class C, that means M2 will be in the RAM. At the same time, C is a subclass class B. That's why M1 will be in the RAM. B is a subclass for class A. M will be in the RAM. So three methods are available in the RAM. So these three methods are stored under the under some object name called as ECE. So in order to access M, directly calling M will never be executed because M is not directly saved in the RAM. M is saved in the RAM under the name of ECE. So we have to modify the statement as ECE.M. So it will execute the method M which was present in class A so that it will print Chevrolet Engineering College on the computer screen, right? So in order to access M1 cannot be accessed directly because M1 is not in the RAM directly. M1 is in some space under the name ECE. So we have to call ECE.M1. And similarly, in order to execute the method M2, we have to call ECE.M2, right? So, so this is how we can execute all three methods which are present in this program. Code, right? So as we mentioned earlier, a Java program can have any number of classes. Among all those classes, main method will be in only one class. So the entire program has to be saved with the class name in which the main method contains. So here in this program, class A have method M, class B have method M1, class C have method M2, and class D has the main method public static void main string args. So here we have four classes. Among those four classes, class D contains the main method. So the entire program has to be saved under the name of D. So it is a Java program. We have to use .java at the end. So d.java. So I'm going to save this program as d.java, right? After saving the program, I need to compile the program, right? So compilation can be done here, or we can simply use Control+1 in order to compile. So I tried to compile this program. It is successfully compiled. Now I want to execute this program, right? For the execution, we need to press Control+2, right? Here it is. So if you observe the output of the program, we got Chevrolet Engineering College in the first line, electronics and communication in the second line, and oops through Java in the third line. So because we have used, we have called M, it will print our college name. We have called M1, it will print our branch name. We have called M2, it will print our subject name. So here if you observe, we have created only object for class C. So the class C object contains M1, M1 and M2, three methods. It is possible because of this particular statements, right? So we have written, if you write only class C, that means it is an individual class. It will don't have any super class, that means parent class. So if you write class C extends B, then C will become a child class for class B. That is, B will be parent class for C. And when we go to the class B declaration, if you observe extends A, right? So class B will become child class of A, and A will be the parent class of B. So if you have created an object for class C, it will bring M2 method, which was in class C. At the same time, class C was a subclass of B. So it will bring M1 method in class B, and class B is a subclass of A. It will bring the method M of class A into the RAM. So by creating a single object for class C, we can able to access M, M1, M2. That means the properties of class A and class B can be used with the objects of class C without rewriting them, right? So this is the example for multi-level inheritance. So let us move to the concept, that means the theory part. Let us move to the theory part. Right, this is what we have completed so far. Multiple inheritance the next type of inheritance. So in multiple inheritance, one class have more than one parent class or superclass, and inherit the features of all the parent classes, right? So up to now we have seen simple and multi-level. In simple, there are two classes, class A and class B. Class B is a subclass of class A. That is a simple inheritance or single inheritance. In multi-level inheritance, if you observe class A, it don't have any parents. If you observe class B, it have one parent, that is A. And if you observe class C, it will have one parent, that is B. That is multi-level inheritance. But here, in multiple inheritance, a class will have more than one parent class. So this type of inheritance, keep the this one is very important. Please make a note. This type of inheritance is not possible in Java. So Java does not support the concept of multiple inheritance directly. It will support multiple inheritance up to some extent by using the concept called as interfaces. So in Java, multiple inheritance can be achieved through interfaces, right? So the multiple inheritance concept is not directly supported in Java. So, right. So let us have a look at what is multiple inheritance. So here in the picture, you can see there are three classes, class A, class B, and class C. So that particular class C has two parent classes, class A and class B. So it is not supported in Java, but it is supported in C++, right? So when we create an object in for class C in C++, right? When we create an object for class C in C++, so by using that object, it can access the methods and variables of class C because it is an object for class C. At the same time, that particular class have two parent classes, class A and class B. So it can also be able to access the properties of class A and class B also, right? So if a single class have more than one parent class, then the type of inheritance is called as multiple inheritance, right? So I'm not going to show any example regarding this multiple inheritance because in Java it was not supported directly by using classes. It will only be supported in Java by using the concept called as interfaces. So here I am not showing any example for multiple inheritance. So what is the reason behind why Java is not supporting this multiple inheritance, right? I will explain in the next sessions, right? There will be ambiguity, right? There will be ambiguity in case of multiple inheritance. So that ambiguity, if you are able to avoid that ambiguity, so then the language will support multiple inheritance, right? So that ambiguity is avoided in C++ by using scope resolution operator or virtual base classes. But here in Java, there are no such there is no support of the such things. There is scope resolution operator and virtual class. So that's why it is unable to support the multiple inheritance concept directly. So it will support multiple inheritance in case of interfaces up to some extent, but in case of classes, it will not support because of ambiguity. So ambiguity means some confusion to the JVM, or whether to execute the method present in class A or the method present in class B, right? I will explain this particular topic, why Java is not supporting multiple inheritance, in a separate session. In that session, I will explain some theory and I will show some program in the sense that program will not execute. I will show that, right? So let us move to the next type of inheritance. So the next type of inheritance is called as hierarchical inheritance, right? So I think it is exactly reverse to the multiple inheritance. In multiple inheritance, it has more than one parent class. So class C is having class A and class B, two parent classes. That is called multiple inheritance. But in hierarchical inheritance, if you observe, a single class has more than one child class. If you observe the picture what you are seeing in the bottom right corner, there are four classes, A, B, C, D. And A is the parent class for B, and A is the parent class for C, and A is the parent class for D. So both, all the three, B, C, and D is having the same parent class A. So that means A is having three child classes, that is B, C, D, three child classes. So this type of inheritance is called as hierarchical inheritance. If a single class is having more than two parent classes, two or more than two parent classes, then the type of inheritance is called as hierarchical inheritance, right? So let us move to the program and observe what is hierarchical inheritance here, right? Right, this is the program what we have seen for multi-level inheritance, right? Now let us take one more new program here. One second, I'm deleting all this code. Now let us have a look at the hierarchical inheritance. As you've seen in the picture, right? As you've seen in the picture, there are four classes: class A, class B, class D, class C. One second, sorry. Class C. Make it as a capital because by convention. And there is one more class called as class D. So there are four classes, and there are four classes in which, right? Please recollect what you have seen in the PPT. Sorry, this is so this is what we have seen in the PPT, hierarchical inheritance. So B is a child class for class A, C is a child class for class A, D is a child class for class A. So each and every class have to be child class for class A. So here we have to mention extends A, extends B, extends A. Here also we have to mention extends A. Now A is a superclass for B, C, and D. Right? A is a superclass for all the three classes. So A is having three child classes. Right? A is having three child classes. Right? So here let us write one method M, right? And this method M, for example, method M will print something on the output screen. So if you want to print anything on the output screen in Java, I have to use the statement system.out.ln, println. So here I'm going to write BTech. I'm going to print BTech, right? Here I'm going to copy the entire method so that it will be very easy to paste in each and every class. Control C, now Control V. Here I'm going to take a method called as M1, right? It will print CSC, right? I'm going to write one more method called as M2. It will print ECE, and I'm going to write here one more method. The name of the method is M3. It will print IT. So I have taken four methods, M1, M2, M3, where M will print BTech on the output screen, M1 will print CSC on the output screen, M2 will print EC on the output screen, and M3 will print IT on the output screen. So let us write one more class, for example, class D. it is having the main method in Java. So the main method in Java is public static void main string. We can have any name here. Generally, we take right. So this is the main method in Java. So inside the main method, let us see what will happen if we create an object for A. So here, if you observe the program, if you create an object, will be moving right because A don't have any parent classes. And if we create an object for class B, method M and method M1 will move into the RAM because class B is a subclass of class A. So class B will, the object of class B will bring all the properties of B and at the same time all the properties of A. So when we create an object for class C, it will bring all the properties of class C and class A because A is the parent class of C. And when we create an object for class D, it will bring method M and method M3 into the RAM because D is a subclass of A. So the object of D will bring the properties of A and the properties of class D. So if we want to access M1, we have to create an object for B. If we want to access M2, we have to create an object for C. And if we want to create an if we want to access method M3, we have to create an object for class D. Anyhow, if we create an object for class B or class C or class D, it will have an access to method M because the M method is located in class A, where A is the parent class for class B, class C, and class C. So any object of B or any object of C or any object of D can have access over the method M, which was present in class A, because A is a parent class for B, C, D. Okay, so let us add some more statements inside the main method so that we can have access to all the methods which are present in different classes. So right, so if we create an object for class B, for example, B space obj equal to new B. That means we are trying to create an object for class B, and then we are trying to create an object for class C. So the object names should be different. Here you can take obj1, and here you can take obj2, new B, sorry, new C, and then you want to create an object for class D, use the statement D space obj3 equal to new D. So here three objects have been created, obj1, obj2, and obj3. So inside obj1, method M1 and method M will be present. Inside obj2, method M2 and method M will be there. Inside obj3, method M3 and method M will be there, right? So after creating an object for all these three classes, let us access obj1.m, so it can access M, and at the same time obj1 can access M1, and obj2 can access M, and obj2 can access M2. obj3 can access M, and obj3 can access M3, right? So save the particular code. In this program, we have written 5 classes. As I said earlier, among those 5 classes, the main method will be in only one class, right? Main method will be in only one class, and we have to save the program with the name of the class in which the main method exists, right? So save the code with the name of E, because E is the class which contains the main method in Java. right? So I'm saving this program with the name E, right? And then want to compile it, we need to go for Control+1. So we don't get any errors. So it is compiled successfully, right? Next, let us run this program by pressing on Control+2. So if you observe, we got BTech ECE, sorry, BTech CSE, BTech ECE, and BTech IT. So this is possible in case of hierarchical inheritance, right? I think you got some knowledge on how to write a Java program, because we have written, I think 5 to 6 programs, right? So if you have any doubts in writing the program, just make a comment in the comment box. I will show how to write some simple programs, and then we can move to some complicated programs on Java, right? So if you observe all the sections, what still now, I think 5 or 6 sections has been completed. If you observe all these sections also, you will be able to understand how we can write Java program. So now let us move to the next things in hierarchical inheritance. We have completed it, and then hybrid inheritance. So till now we have seen single inheritance, multi-level inheritance, multiple inheritance, hierarchical inheritance. So till now we have seen 4 different types of inheritances. So if we combine any 2 inheritances, or any 2 or more than 2 inheritances, then the type of inheritance is called as hybrid inheritance. Simply, hybrid inheritance is a combination of 2 or more number of inheritances. If we write a program combining single inheritance and multiple inheritance, then it is called as hybrid inheritance. If we write a program by combining single inheritance and hierarchical inheritance, then it is called as hybrid inheritance. Here we need only just combination of 2 or more number of inheritances, right? So right here you can observe two uh, pictures there. There are 2 pictures. Here, if you observe the first picture, which is on the left hand side, there is one parent class which is having 2 child classes, and there is one more class called as child 12, which is having 2 parent classes, right? I will show it by using some right here. You can see, if you observe the green circle, it is reflecting, right? It is reflecting there is one class. That class is having 2 child classes. In the sense, it is called as hierarchical inheritance. It is called as hierarchical inheritance. If a class is having more than one child class, then the type of inheritance is called as hierarchical inheritance, right? So, and then, so this green circle is called as hierarchical inheritance. I draw one more circle with some red color. So if you observe red color part, it is called as multiple inheritance. So child 12 is having 2 parent classes, child 1 and child 2 are the 2 parent classes for child 12. So this type of inheritance is called as multiple inheritance, which is not possible in Java. Not possible in the sense, which is not directly possible in Java, right? And then if you observe the next picture, that means, sorry, please have a note. If you observe this particular picture on the LHS side, we are combining some hierarchical inheritance with multiple inheritance. So this type of inheritance is called as hybrid inheritance, right? So next one, if you observe the next picture here, if you observe this one, right? If you observe this one second. If you observe the red circle, parent 2 and child 2 1, it is called a second. It is I think there is a lot of sensitivity. It is called as single inheritance. It is called as single inheritance. And if you observe one more, let us take another color. If you observe these two, that means parent 1 and child 1, it is also single inheritance, right? So there is, sorry, excuse me, right? So here parent 1 and child 1 is under single inheritance relation. Parent 2, child 2 1 is also in single inheritance relation, right? So at the same time, if you observe, right, if you observe this particular circle, right, this particular circle, it is under multi-level inheritance. Multi-level inheritance. Parent 1 is having one child class, that is child 2. Child 2 is having one more child class called as child 2 1. So here we are combining single inheritance with multi-level inheritance. At the same time, if you observe, we have one more inheritance in the picture. If you observe this particular thing, only this particular thing, if you observe this particular thing, so this child 2 1 is having two parent classes, that is parent 2, child 2, parent 2, child 2, or the two parent classes for child 2 1. So this type of inheritance is called as multiple inheritance, which is not directly possible in Java. So you can observe here, there is combination of single, multiple, and multi-level inheritances. So there is combination of two or more number of inheritances. Then the type of inheritance is called as hybrid inheritance, right? I think you all get what is hybrid inheritance, right? So let us move to the next slide. Let us move to the next slide. Once again, hybrid. So till now, we have completed what is single, what is multiple, what is multi-level, what is hierarchical, and what is hybrid inheritance. So here I am not going to show any examples. So you can, you have already seen how to write a program on single inheritance, how to write a program on multi-level inheritance, and how to write a program on hierarchical inheritance. Now take this as an assignment for you. Please combine any of the two inheritances. Please combine any of the two inheritances, either single and multiple. Sorry, you cannot use multiple. So either single or multi-level, or either single or hierarchical, or hierarchical and multiple. So combine any of the two inheritances or two or more number of inheritances and try to write a program as an assignment for you. Right? I'm not going to check on, I'm not going to be able to check your assignments. Please be correct yourself, right? Please be genuine yourself, so that please write a program by combining any of the two inheritances, that is single or multiple or multi-level or hierarchical. Combine any two or more number of inheritances and take this as an, right, take this as a practice example. Write one program or write a couple of programs. So if you observe the diagram, you can write a program. It may or may not execute. It will bring some idea into your mind how to write a program on inheritance, right? So with this, I'm going to close today's session. So in today's session, we have seen a couple of examples and some definitions on inheritances. In the next session, we will start with the concept called as polymorphism, right? So one second. So if you have any doubts regarding today's session, you can just comment in the comment box or text me. I will answer all of your queries, and hope you all get some enough knowledge today. And I'm very much thank you to all the listeners of this particular video, right? So please practice. I request you all to please practice each and every day's programs in your laptops or in mobile phones. Also, there are multiple number of apps which support Java, so you can write the example programs there and you can observe uh, the output of the Java programs. So please practice yourself. So programming languages needs your practice, and that practice should not be copy and paste. You have to practice yourself. You have to write the class yourself. You have to write the method yourself. So please listen to the sessions for getting some syntax and for getting some idea. And you are the person, you have to go very deeply into the subject. You have to learn each and everything. And if you face any doubts while going deep into the subject, you can just comment me. I will give you answer. Not a problem, right? So I request you all to please practice all the programs what you are seeing on in the session. At the same time, I request you to please practice some more programs which will be very helpful for you in order to develop the programming skill, right? So I really thank each and everyone for being here for the entire session. So with this, I'm going to close. Thank you, and thank you very much.